What's up, everyone? It's the one and only notorious D-O-double-G. Want to wish you all a great fight night tonight and come through with my bet for the night. The fight I'm interested in, Michael Chandler versus Paddy Pimblett. I'm going to go with Michael Chandler to win and win by KO. Although Paddy's improved in his last few outings, I still fancy Chandler to do it. And the odds on a knockout are just too tasty at Julebits. And that's what the Mac loves. Tasty odds at julebits.com. Let me know in the comments below what you think. And place a bet beside me on julebits.com. The greatest odds in the game. Let's go, boys.
We know that Conor McGregor tweeted saying he had his eye on this fight.
Oh, yeah? He said he put a bet on Chandler by knockout. Yeah. What now, Conor? Hey? Should have mentioned him in the cage, you little lizard. Thought you would have backed your own, lads, you know what I mean? Irish and Scouse. Thought you would have backed your own. If you're coming back, lads, let's do it. Wembley, Croke Park, I'll mufti you as well.
Israel Adesanya said that he might have been too quick to count out his opponent. He admitted that the fighter was very impressive, showing skills that were undeniable. Despite having one flaw in the past, which was the issue with his chin, Adesanya noticed that it wasn't as noticeable in this fight. It seemed like the fighter had worked on fixing it. Adesanya gave credit where it was due, acknowledging that the opponent had really improved and deserved respect.
I might stop counting him out, eh?
That's super impressive.
Very impressive. Like, he's good. He's good. Even though he has that one flaw that I think he might have fixed as well. Because I didn't really see it much this fight, the chin up. He's fixed it, so you got to give it up to him, man.
Some fighters shared their reactions on Twitter. Bilal Muhammad said Islam got a new contender. Aljamain Sterling said Paddy the Baddie. Terrence McKinney said congrats on the win, Paddy. That was a great performance. You did that. Chisanga Malata said Paddy Pimblett is legit. I don't think it to begin with, but he's proven myself and many other wrong. Dylan Davis said, man, Michael Chandler sucks. Let's take a look at the predictions made by them before the fight. Chepe Mariscal said he backed Paddy Pimblett, thinking Chandler was trying too hard to prove himself. He felt Chandler should have focused on just getting the win, while Paddy had good momentum. Mariscal saw himself on a similar path, just one UFC win behind. He was impressed with Paddy's growth and liked seeing fighters like him rise in the ranks.
Man, I gotta go for Pimblett. I think Chandler's doing too much, you know, like I think he's trying to just feed onto something, and I feel like, man, like he just needs to win, you know, and I feel like I'm going for Pimblett because he's on a winning streak, and I feel like I'm on the same kind of path. I think he has one more win than I do in the UFC, so it's cool to see guys like that, you know, evolve and win.
Jamahal Hill said he picked Michael Chandler to win. He noted that Paddy used his size well in past fights like the one against Bobby Green, despite Green's speed. But Hill believed Chandler's power and accuracy gave him the edge, saying Paddy was easier to hit but hard to take down.
I probably lean toward more towards Michael Chandler. Paddy's a big dude, bro. He's a big 155er, you know, and anytime he's been given a challenge, like even the Bobby Green fight, like I knew he was bigger, but I thought the speed of Bobby would present more of a problem for him. But he suffocated that by just hard kicks, making Bobby stay shelled up. You know, so it's up there. But you know, I probably would lean more towards Michael Chandler just because how hard he hits. He's able to find his shots, and Paddy is not the hardest to hit. You know, and Michael's not easy to take down.
Pedro Falcao said he thought Chandler would come in strong and aggressive early, making the first 2 rounds tough for Paddy. But if it went longer, he believed it would get harder for Paddy. Even with their different styles, Falcao picked Chandler to win by second-round knockout.
I think Michael Chandler give like whole energy since the beginning of the fight. I think first and second round are gonna be so dangerous for Paddy Pimblett for sure. But if it is a long fight, Pat can finish him for sure. So have the both styles different times, you know. I think Chandler is gonna win second round. TKO.
Sayif Saud praised Michael Chandler for his work ethic, energy, and toughness in the cage, but he pointed out that Chandler often gets into wild fights, which sometimes don't go his way. He said Paddy Pimblett had shown he can stay calm under pressure and pull off tricky submissions with good timing. Saud believed the fight was important for both fighters, especially for Paddy to prove if he could become a real contender in the lightweight division.
Man, I love Chandler. He's the man. And, you know, he's such a hard worker. He's got so much energy. He's ferocious. He gets in these brawls, though, you know, where he comes on the short end of the stick. And I think that Paddy has shown that he can be, you know, pretty cool under pressure. And, I mean, you know, pulling submissions and stuff like that, it's not easy to do those things. And that takes timing, and it takes real know-how. And Paddy's got a lot of fights. You know, I remember he kind of waited and then they brought him back in. So to me, this is really a crossroads fight for both of them. You know, if Paddy wants to go to the upper echelon of the lightweight division, he's going to have to beat Michael Chandler. I mean, you know, just like Oliveira and all the other guys did.
Saud also talked about how dangerous Chandler is, mentioning his wins over fighters like Dan Hooker and Tony Ferguson. He said Chandler has the power to beat top-level opponents and is a real threat. But if Paddy wasn't fully ready, the fight would show exactly where he stands in the division. Still, Saud believed Paddy was becoming more dangerous as he gained experience and kept improving his skills.
But you see what Chandler did to Hooker and what he did to Ferguson. Chandler's dangerous, man. I mean, he could take you out, and he fights only the very best of the best. So if Paddy Pimblett is not 100% on point, you know, we're going to see where he is really in the lightweight division. But he definitely seems capable. We'll see where that weight cut and all that other stuff. And, you know, it seems like he dials all that stuff in. He's getting more and more dangerous as he matures in the octagon.
Gerald Meerschaert said he wasn't completely sure but leaned toward Chandler to win, as he knew him personally and hoped he'd come out on top. He found the matchup interesting, pointing out that Chandler might take risks and end up in a submission like a triangle. While Meerschaert thought Chandler could escape such situations, he felt there were easier paths to victory. Despite the risks, he picked Chandler but was curious to see how the fight played out.
Man. I don't know. I guess I know Chandler, so I kind of hope he wins. But that's an interesting one because I could see Chandler just like throwing caution to the wind and swinging away and like falling into a triangle or something. Like, not saying he couldn't get out of it, but like I think there's ways for him to win that are much easier than he's going to make it on himself. If that makes sense.
So who do you give the edge to?
I still Chandler, but yeah, we'll see how that one goes.
Modestas Bukauskas said he recently discussed the fight with a friend and was leaning toward Paddy Pimblett to win. He highlighted Paddy's range and striking, especially in his fight with Bobby Green. While Chandler was shorter, explosive, and powerful with good wrestling, Bukauskas noted that if Chandler took Paddy down, he'd have to face Paddy's advanced jiu-jitsu. Bukauskas believed Chandler would struggle to close the distance and thought Paddy would get the win.
In this, I was actually talking about it with a friend the other day, and I am leaning towards Paddy Pimblett because he's got very long range. He was used as striking very well against Bobby Green in his last fight. Chander's a lot shorter. He's very explosive, very powerful, and good wrestling. But if he takes him down, he's got to handle Paddy's jiu-jitsu, which is next level. And obviously, his length of his strikes and stuff for this, I think Chander will find it hard to get in. And Paddy's got a great way of like slowly closing in on his opponent, so I believe Paddy will get the job done.
Javier Mendez talked about the fight between Michael Chandler and Paddy Pimblett, saying Chandler would give his best effort. He mentioned Chandler's experience and desire for redemption made him dangerous, but also noted he was up against a young, undefeated fighter in Paddy who had been performing at a high level with impressive wins.
Man, that's an interesting fight. You know, Michael Chandler is going to bring it. You know, he's going to bring his A game as best he can. So I don't know what he has left that he can do. Maybe he has a lot because he has a lot of pent-up, frustrations from the Conor thing, and then having the one fight didn't go his way. Now he's going with the young lion and Paddy, who's won every fight, right? He's won every fight and he's looked very impressive.
Mendez leaned slightly toward Paddy, highlighting his momentum and undefeated record as an advantage. However, he noted that Chandler could bring out his best performance like Dustin Poirier did against Islam Makhachev. Mendez believed the mental aspect would be key, with both fighters capable of surprising everyone depending on how they handled the mental and physical pressures leading up to the fight.
So I'm gonna say might favor Paddy a little bit because he's on a roll, and Michael has to, do or die. Like what Dustin did with Islam. He gave it his best, and man, that was a hell of a fight that Dustin.
That was a good fight.
So that could be the same scenario here too. So you could see the best Michael we've ever seen. So it's possible. So it's all the mental, how they can get into their mind and what they could get their body to do. You'd be surprised what people can do when they have the right mental.
Luis Gurule said it was an interesting matchup and pointed out how Paddy impressed him in the Bobby Green fight, especially with his smooth jiu-jitsu. He chose Paddy to win, explaining that while Chandler excelled in chaotic moments, he often got too reckless and put himself in tough spots. Gurule felt Paddy would capitalize on those errors.
Yeah, that's a cool matchup. Paddy really surprised me with that Bobby Green fight. I didn't think his jiu-jitsu looked so slick right there. I'm gonna go with Paddy on this one. I think Chandler loves the chaos, but I think he gets so chaotic sometimes. He puts himself in bad positions, and I think Paddy's gonna take advantage of it.
John Blachowicz said it was going to be an exciting fight, and it really was. Even though Chandler was the favorite, Paddy showed that he had the skills to be a tough opponent. His unusual fighting style worked well for him and made the fight very competitive.
It's, very, very, very nice fight. Maybe on paper Chandler, but Paddy is, he's very good, and he's got his weird style and he knows how to use it. So
Alexander Volkanovski expressed excitement for the fight between Michael Chandler and Paddy Pimblett, noting how hard it was to pick a winner. He highlighted Chandler's explosive style, expecting him to pressure Paddy early. However, Volkanovski pointed out Paddy's composure and strategic thinking, especially against Bobby Green, believing those qualities would be crucial in the later rounds.
Yeah, Chandler and Pimblett. Interesting one, man. It's a hard one to pick. Because Chandler is so dangerous, explosive, right? He's going to come guns blazing. Can Paddy Pimblett fight that right fight? I think in them later rounds, Paddy Pimblett can maybe, because he showed against Green, he showed a lot more composure and strategy, which I thought was great, which he will need. So it's a tricky one because who's the favourite in this one? I think I've seen that. Paddy Pimblett was the favourite, maybe?
Yeah, I think Paddy might be the favourite.
Yeah, something like that. So